What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talk of the Tundra, your Green Bay Packers podcast that is a proud partner of the Euroset Podcast Network and the Blue Wire family. As always, I am your host, Numac, and we are transitioning over to the NFC. We just finished our Tour de AFC, and now we're headed over to the NFC to recap sort of what the teams in the NFC West and the NFC South did this offseason. And to talk about that with me, as always, is my trusty co-host, Jordan Tresky. Jordan, how you doing, buddy?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Hot. It's hot
Yeah,
outside.
it's too hot. It's too hot.
Hot and humid. Played a little wiffle ball in Tulsa this afternoon, and there was no wind. And it was sticky. Sticky is putting it lightly.
As the great philosopher,
I know you're going with this.
what?
Little
What?
sticky icky icky.
No.
Ooh
As
wee.
the great philosopher Cornell Irel Haynes Jr. once said, "It's hot in her."
We both went the same general direction. So, all right, I'll let you choose. Would you rather start with the NFC West or the NFC South for our tour? I feel like I'm letting you choose, but
You're asking me, would I rather have a lollipop or would you rather stick a hammer through my knee?
but you want to
What?
get
Hammer? A nail through my knee. That's what I meant to say.
the
Tripped
stuff the
over.
bats out of the way first, though, right?
Yeah, I think we got to do NFC South because I
Yeah, it's
legitimately,
abysmal.
if it wasn't for the fact that they require division winners to make the playoffs,
Yeah,
uh, yeah,
I think that's one of the big things is that this division isn't good. So just like we did with the AFC, we'll start at the bottom with Andrew Snyder's very own Carolina Panthers entering year two of the Short King Bryce Young era. Trying to get that man some help on the outside, particularly in the wide receiver department, and they did so in the draft. They ended up taking hometown boy Xavier Legette, the wide receiver out of South Carolina, who has one of the best accents I think I've ever heard. And then they
I
followed that up with
legitimately thought you were about to say something totally different. The
I don't
way
even
you said,
don't even know where you're going with that.
the way you said he legitimately has one of the best. I'm just like,
Ah,
oh my.
got it. No. Accents.
There we go.
Accents. They followed that up with picking Texas running back Jonathan Brooks in the second round as well. A running back that I was enamored with in the draft process, as we talked about earlier this off season. But their biggest get of the offseason, we talked about, I think, on the last pod, was their trade to get Deontay Johnson from the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mhm.
Again, really like making sure that there is somebody out there for Bryce Young to throw to. Because last year it wasn't great, we'll say. Their leading receiver was Adam Thielen, which like had 1,000 yard season, was pretty good. Like for all intents and purposes, 1,000 yard is good, but only 4 touchdowns, and it quickly went bad from Adam Thielen to then DJ Chark at 525 yards. Followed
DJ
it up,
Chalk.
yeah, followed it up with um, Chuba Hubbard and Miles Sanders at running back. Like they just weren't the most dynamic team, obviously. Um, 11 touchdowns, 11 TDs, 10 picks for Bryce Young last year. I think like that's just their. I applaud them for putting more things around um, Bryce Young this offseason because obviously that was an important to do for them.
Yeah, I obviously 215 getting the first overall pick, you'd be, obviously very happy about that. Whoops, they don't have the first overall pick because of what they
Yeah,
did. Yeah.
yeah, they traded
Um,
traded this year's first, and I think another future first. I forget for
I think that trade is still going on. Yeah.
yeah, the number one
Not all
pick,
picks have been,
the number one pick 2 years ago now, that which they used to take Bryce Young.
and it's already, they've, the organization or the front office and coach that were in place at the time of the pick is already, they're both gone.
Yeah, it's not
So they,
ideal.
it's not ideal. David Tepper's throwing uh soda or whatever drinks at Jaguars fans in that one video. It's very easy to crap on the Panthers. I'm sure we'll probably do it throughout the year. I would say I think their offseason is respectable. Do I
I would
anticipate
agree.
them do I anticipate them being a playoff team? Not necessarily, but at the same time, this division is poop. It's poop. So I think anything is possible. I really do. I would believe that, you know, we'll get into the other teams as we go along. But I look at who they brought back, who they moved on from. It does suck to lose like Frankie Lavou, who kind of was kind of their star pass rusher. He's gone. Starting center Bradley Bozeman's gone. Um, Brian Burns is obviously gone, going to the Giants on a big trade. They lose
Yep.
Von Bell. But at the same time, you're like, well, this team was 2-15 last year. Even if you lose these impact players, it's not like they did anything of value to them towards winning games as
Right.
recently as last year.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it has not been a good 12 to 15 months for the Panthers by any means, but there's no telling in that like things can turn around quickly. I liked Jadavian Clowney's kind of just made his hay as being this guy that's always just going to be like this mercenary that
Yeah.
jumps from team to team.
Yep.
But I like a lot of the moves that they did in free agency just to make things look respectable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you. The Jadavion Clowney get is good for them. Brings in a veteran presence that hopefully provides some sort of pass rush, as well as just like be a guy in a locker room, hopefully a leader. They also signed Josie Jewell, the linebacker from Denver, who had a good year last year with a couple of sacks. They end up with Yash Nyman on our line, or on their line, so we know how that goes. Like not how that goes, but we know what Yash Nyman is like, obviously. So not a all pro starting tackle, but serviceable. Hopefully he can have a good impact there. They move on from DJ Chark. They do sign Ashawn Robinson, the interior lineman from the Giants. Um, Other than that, I'm trying to see a couple other players, but um, nothing too significant. Looks like they signed Damian Lewis as well, a guard from Seattle, so they tighten up their line that way too. The biggest thing is just keeping Bryce Young like healthy. Obviously, I think he missed a couple of games last year with a concussion, and so
Mm.
hopefully he can have an impact for them. Because like yeah, I agree with you. I liked their offseason enough to where like you said, are they going to win a playoff game or make the playoffs? Probably not. But I think this is a good step in the right direction for Carolina, in particular, and hopefully Bryce Young can take a step in his progress as a progression and growth as a QB in the NFL.
Also, former Packer alert, Yash Nyman is on this team.
I said
And
that.
you did?
Yeah,
God
that's her. But
darn
that but
it.
that's cool. That's cool.
Yash darn it.
Gosh darn it.
Yash darn it.
But yeah, like on that point, as I said, like we know what he is, but he's not like an all pro left tackle or tackle, but he's a good piece for them just to kind of like try and keep Bryce Young upright. Trying to think anybody else here. I'm not seeing Jordan Fuller. Like he's an old name.
He was a
I think
safety target I remember looking at
yeah.
before the McKinney signing.
Shouldn't say old. He's still only 26. I'm thinking of Kyle Fuller. My apologies. The old cornerback for the Bears. So no, like I said, all in all, a good offseason for Carolina. I think it's another good build year for them. I wish I could see future future picks because I want to see what that trade was. I probably could just like see what the Bryce Young trade was because
Got a new coach too, Dave Canellis.
he's the hot guy that is the QB whisperer, right?
Yeah, he's also an author.
Oh, he is an author.
Yes, he is.
He is an author. I will let people do their own research on that one because oh, I forgot about that. That is very funny. The Bryce Young trade was hold on, I can't read that. The 2023 first overall pick and the 2023 ninth overall pick. The Bears traded that for
Yeah.
uh DJ Moore, Darnell Wright, Tyreek Stevenson, Caleb Williams, and then the only thing left is a 2025 second round pick. Obviously, the Darnell Wright, Caleb Williams picks were this year's picks that they had traded. Sorry, video listeners, as I lean off the screen to try and read this. But yeah, the only pick left is a 2025 second. So they do have their own first next year, which is encouraging for them. But yeah, I think that wraps up Carolina. Should we move on to the next team in this not good division, the Atlanta Falcons?
Yes, let's do it.
Atlanta gets significantly better in this offseason, signing Kirk Cousins to a massive $90 million 2 year deal, all guaranteed. I'm pretty sure. If not,
Kirk
it's
Cousins,
yeah.
4 years, 180 million, 100 guaranteed.
Thank you. Over the cap has 90 for some reason. I don't know why that's
Yeah,
there,
I don't
but
know why that is very odd.
maybe it's 90 guaranteed this year because it's only under the 2024 tab kind of thing.
Oh, that could be it.
Regardless, they sign Kirk Cousins and then immediately draft Michael Penix as his successor at I think 8 overall, which is a absolutely crazy decision. So whatever they're planning down there, they're hoping to have quarterback locked up for a while. But replacing Desmond Ritter with Kirk Cousins is just an automatic upgrade, like
Upgrade. Legitimately might be the worst starting quarterback.
to like a top 15, top 12. I'll say
Top 10 if he's healthy.
I'll say 12. Top 10 feels too lofty for my liking of Kirk Cousins, but yes, a good quarterback nonetheless. Um, yeah, like I think you just replace Desmond Ritter with a competent QB to throw to Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and Bijan Robinson out of the backfield. You're you're cooking now. Like I think that's just a good move for them. It makes their window really tight. I think like he's 36, coming off of an Achilles tear. Like that's you better hope we win this season kind of thing. Like the same thing we talked about with the Jets. Like if Aaron Rodgers and company, like if he's healthy and good, they could be good. But I think it's all about health with Kirk. This and how he bounces back from that injury he suffered at Lambeau. I think like week like 5 or 6. Um, then they lose John O. Smith, who was really good for them last year. He signed with the Dolphins. They also lose Calais Campbell. He signed with the Dolphins as well. They lost Jeff Okuda, which isn't a big loss. I think he was cut from the Lions or traded from the Lions, if I'm not
They made
mistaken.
I think they traded for him.
Yeah.
Trying to do
Um,
like a reclamation project kind of thing.
yeah. They lose Bud Dupree. They lose Mac Hollins, their wide receiver. They do sign Ray McLeod and Rondell Moore, a pair of wide receivers in the NFC West, coming out of the Niners and the Cardinals. Um, Other than that, they did sign Darnell Mooney to some big money, which is weird. They gave Darnell Mooney 26 million or 13 million annually, which is a little nuts for Darnell Mooney. Um, but other than that, not too much big money being spent by them. I think they spent most of their money just giving it to Kirk Cousins because like this team, while they were 7-10 last year, like 7-10 with Desmond Ridder as your quarterback is pretty darn good. Like I
That's
think that
pretty impressive.
yeah, like this team has talent all around. It's just a matter of
Yeah.
now having that extra boost from a competent quarterback push you over the edge. Like I think, spoiler, I think they're my favorite to win the South.
Really? Well,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, we'll get into
we'll
that.
get
We'll get
into
into
it.
that. Yeah, kind of going over this, like seeing over the cap and just see their old moves. I mean, obviously, when you sign Kirk Cousins or you draft a quarterback in the draft, it kind of makes like, oh my gosh, they're really reshaping things. It's not really like it's pretty quiet otherwise. Like it's not,
Yeah,
and you can make the case that they didn't need a lot of stuff to begin with because you got Bijan Robinson, you got Kyle Pitts who is in purgatory that you're hoping to get out of. Um, they have a young nucleus of talent clearly. That's a matter of finding the quarterback to put it all together. But they got rid of Arthur Smith, who's strangely one of the weirdest coaches of like the last like 10 years. Just like,
You mean the heir to the FedEx fortune?
yeah, heir to the FedEx fortune, getting pissed off at the Saints running up the score of the last game of the season as he's about to get fired. Just like a very memorable lasting image of his coaching career, at least as a head coach in Atlanta. But yeah, I think the upgrade from him to Raheem Morris, the offense coordinator that came from the Rams, Zach Robinson, who's like this PFF guy, kind of really cool story. He's like already talking about using Bijan Robinson as like a Christian McCaffrey type.
Needs to happen.
Needs to happen. Like they have the weapons to really make this thing go if they wanted to. As I prepare for a big lightning strike to come down
About a
here.
big thunder.
The big thunder. But yeah, you'd think I was trying to make a joke, a pun of Down Under, but I can't do it because it's my brain's too. Falcons look good.
Yeah, they do. Like I using Bijan Robinson in a more Christian McCaffrey esque role. Great idea. He was very dynamic last year with Arthur Smith, a human mustache at coach, and
Human.
like it I don't think you could have like ran a worse offense than what they were trotting out with Desmond Ridder last year. Like it just wasn't like flowy enough. Like for all his credit, Beecher Robinson was good last year. Like he was really good. But
That and we saw him the second game of the season.
we did.
He ran through, yes, a Joe Barry defense that
Mm-hmm.
didn't really do much to stop the run to begin with.
None.
But Bijan Robinson put in probably, I would say, the most dynamic running back performance that the Packers faced last year. One of.
Yeah, I'd say probably the best
Like he was
performance we
just
saw.
anytime he touched them, I I'm going to see the box score and it'll probably be one of those things where it doesn't match up like how the impact that he had on the field.
Yeah, it's not gonna. You're not gonna like the box score. It's at least it's probably 127 total yards and two touchdowns. I think.
19 carries, 124 yards, so 6.5 yards per carry, which is that's already nuts. Four receptions for 48 yards. So he didn't finish with touchdowns, but literally like
Yeah, and
every other carry is a first down for him.
so many of those yards came in the fourth quarter too. Like so many of
Yes.
them.
Yes. So yeah, like he is a dynamic, possibly game-changing running back. Like
Yeah,
if you're a fantasy player, which I believe we all are, um, he's probably going to be the guy that everybody's going to be like trying to buy high on because they know that the coaching staff in place that they've changed over, they really want to utilize him. It's like just that buy high, like underutilized guy that going into a second year that you're just like, oh, I can only imagine the possibilities kind of thing.
hmm
So yeah, like I think from the standpoint of yeah, there's a lot of concern about what Kirk Cousins might look like after an Achilles tear, and that's not a 1 year injury by any means. However, if you have someone like Bijan Robinson, also shout out to Tyler Algier, who's kind of a he might be the Jalen Warren for this Falcons team. That might be enough for him to kind of like get back and don't rush things or don't have to feel like you have to do a lot of things to make the
right,
Falcons win football games.
right. Yeah, this
So
offense
I can see your logic that you pick the Falcons to win the division.
yeah, this offense could be pretty darn good. Is my idea.
It should.
Plus their defense is pretty good too. Like for what it's worth, PFF has them as last year in like ranked their defense rating, whatever. They were 12th. So like not a bad defense by any means, at least according to PFF's metrics and things like that. So
Mhm.
all right, we got to keep on moving up the ladder, and now we got to go with I believe yeah the Saints were in second last year. The New Orleans Saints they had an interesting um, offseason as well as they go through. Uh, I'm trying to think what the word I was going to say. A search for quarterback is probably the best way to say it. A search for quarterback, and just in general trying to find their identity. Is that fair to say?
I would not say that.
No.
I would say I think they're trying to keep the machine going and the car is breaking down.
I would say it is too, but they just don't have any sort of like. Am I wrong? Was Derek Carr this year or last year?
Last year.
Oh, okay. I thought it
Yeah.
was. I thought it was this year for some reason. Okay, then never mind. You are right. The car is in fact breaking down. They still have Derek Carr at quarterback, and
Also,
go ahead.
what's his name? Um,
I don't know his name.
Dennis Allen.
Yeah,
They brought him back after there was some question of whether they would
they
bring him
would.
back or not.
Yeah.
They did.
Um, End up losing their quarterback, Jameis Winston, who was their quarterback most of the year last year after Derek Carr was out for a good chunk of the year with some injuries. They re-signed former Packer Shamar Jean Charles. I just now reading that, which is funny. Um,
Don't forget Jonathan Abram too, former Packer.
oh, that's right. Yep. They do end up signing Chase Young, which is big for them. I totally forgot that happened, but they do sign Chase Young, former Commander and Niner last year. Re-signed Honey Badger Teron Mathieu, re-signed Ryan Ramczyk, which is a big get for them or big hold for them. Otherwise, didn't lose too many like
I want to say
high
though,
profile
sorry,
players. You're good.
there is a, is it Ryan Ramczyk? There's some question as to whether he is going to be playing
Uh,
next year.
I didn't hear anything about that. Uh, it looks like he is, but I don't know. You want me to vamp the former?
I'm seeing an article. So the headline is Ryan Ramczyk's knee not recovering as quickly as we hoped. That was March 26th. They
Hate
restructured his
that.
contract since then. Um,
Sounds like
yeah,
another tackle we know.
yeah. Honestly, that sounds very Bakhtiari like.
I mean, honestly, signs a big deal. Uh, when did he sign that deal?
June 30th, 2021. 5 years, $96 million contract extension with
Right. I think
60 million
it was his
guaranteed.
his deal after his rookie deal. Like it's his first big deal, I think.
Hmm.
And so like it sucks. Like Ryan Ramczyk, former Wisconsin guy, was a first round pick if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he was 32nd overall. Like great tackle in the NFL. Like they probably need him to be healthy to be competitive, I'd say.
Yeah, I
Not
just think
need
the
him, but
same.
like that he helps
No,
obviously.
no, it is. It's the States are just in this slow, very slow decline,
Yeah, I think I
and
I agree with you that they're trying to keep it going and they're just not. Like I it
it's
uh,
like all the things about like the cap doesn't exist, the cap doesn't exist, the cap doesn't exist. Saints are probably the best indication that you will feel pain eventually.
eventually, yeah. But I don't even think it's that. I think it's just like they had so many breakdowns along the way that nothing ever really materialized, right? Like they had Michael
Yeah,
Thomas. He had his ankle injuries for years. That's not a cap issue. That's just an unfortunate
yeah,
nagging injury that just took away his entire career. Um, Alvin Kamara hasn't been the same since he got injured a couple years ago, and
yeah.
without I want to say yeah he played with Drew Brees. Did he?
They did. Yes,
Yeah,
they did. Yeah,
yeah. It's like without Drew Brees, he's been a little different as well as they've been spending the
but
time trying to
even
find a
that,
quarterback
like,
there.
they never. It felt like they had kind of a pulse of trying to, you know, do what the Packers have done, where try to groom the next quarterback in place, signing Jameis Winston, kind of taking a flyer on him, doing whatever the hell they've been doing at Taysom Hill for the last couple of years. And it's never worked. Like it just
Right.
kind of just they never really committed to any one thing, and then they go after Derek Carr. Obviously, Sean Payton leaves. They get compensation for that, but it doesn't really do anything to help them out
No.
in any which way. Like re-signing Teron Matthew, Demario Davis has kind of been their Iron Man for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. Still Willie Gay. Still
Everything
have
just
Marshawn
feels very,
Lattimore. Yeah.
yeah, everything just feels
Still have
very
Cameron Jordan.
familiar.
Sorry. They still have Cameron Jordan, who's good.
Yeah. everything just feels familiar with them, and I don't. You just kind of become. If I was a Saints fan, I would be resigned to the fact that they're. It's not necessarily winning at the highest levels, but it's trying to keep remaining competitive, and that is not what you want.
Right. No, I get that. And I think like it's not reminiscent of like the late stage Rodgers era's Packers, or I should say like the middle late stage, like the 2017, 2018 era. But it's like half like that, right? Like they can't get anything going on offense. Like Chris Olave is really good. Rashid Shaheed is really good when he pops. Like he's the definition of a boomer bust wide receiver. Um,
Yeah,
and like Cedric Wilson's fine, but like it really does kind of rest with Chris Olave, and I think like the idea of drafting Olave to be with Michael Thomas was a really good one. It just didn't work out that way, and so it does like suck for them that that's the case. But I wouldn't say it's like tragic. I just think this team is spinning its tires probably.
yeah.
It, I,
Oh
they'll
yeah, that
they'll be
is.
they'll be competitive if Derek Carr's healthy. Like Derek Carr's a good enough quarterback to keep you in games and win you a couple of them. I just don't think it's gonna be like a wow season from the Saints. They could win the division if they like get lucky in some games. They have a and if they get lucky in some games as well as just like play the Falcons well. Like they could sneak out this division at like a 10-7 record if they like. But I think a lot has to break their way for that to happen. Alvin Kamara has to look a lot better than he has in years past.
Well, I think to your point of spinning tires, like Mickey Loomis has been the GM for I think 20 years there.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis Allen, is this his fourth year?
It's something like that, probably. I don't know for
Like,
sure. I can try and see if I
and
can
we
find that.
still, I mean, I kind of feel like he's not a good coach, but they just like
He's the legacy coach of my. I feel like wasn't he their D coordinator or something
he was.
before when
He
Peyton
might
was
be one of
there,
those
right?
guys where he's overqualified to be a coordinator, but not qualified enough to be a successful head coach, which
Yeah,
is a terrible lot to have in life.
it's a terrible place to be unless you can like be resigned to it. Like Wade Phillips is a
Yeah,
good example of this. Um, he was the Saints' assistant D line coach and their secondary coach from '06 to 2010. Left to become the
the
Broncos.
Raiders.
Nope, the Broncos
Oh,
D coordinator. He got fired after a year. Or I should say fired. He took the head coaching job with the Raiders from 12 to 14, then got fired, then became the senior defensive assistant with the Saints in 2015, became their D coordinator from 15 to 21, and is now their head coach from since 22. So
yeah,
like
he's
he's been
definitely
with them for a very long time throughout his career, kind of thing.
yeah.
And so yeah, it's probably like Mickey Loomis probably just sees him there and is like, "Hey, good old friend Dennis Allen, like you want the job, pal?" Which like
Yeah.
again, he's fine. I wouldn't say he's great by any means, like you had said.
Should also note they did take a quarterback in the draft, Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, like the third or fourth round, right? It wasn't anything high,
Yeah,
fifth,
fifth
fifth, fifth
round.
round. But they did get Kool
But
Aid
yeah,
McKinstry,
whether
which is nice.
yeah, whether they that matters. I don't know. They are just very they feel like the epitome of like the middle.
Yeah, I agree with that. And now on to last year's division winner, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Their biggest story of the offseason was keeping Mike Evans. They ended up doing that, signing him to a big deal. The terms of which are loading on my computer right now. a Wish I could read this. 41-year deal or a $41 million deal. Why can't I? 2 years, 41 million. Is that right? I think it is. Looks like it. Anyways, that's their big dub of the offseason because there was a lot of speculation throughout all of last year. Like, would they trade Mike Evans? I know the Packers, like, I think sniffed around that if you remember those rumors and
Yeah,
things
I
like,
certainly wanted him
yeah,
if
if it was the
things
going
went
price was
bad.
good, yeah. Um, but they ended up going and getting Randy Gregory as well, the former edge rusher for the Niners and I believe the Cowboys. They do trade Carlton Davis away to the Detroit Lions. They lost Shaq Barrett as well. And then Devin White, who is having a down couple of years, goes to the Eagles. They sign former Packer, or I don't think Jordan Whitehead.
I think you're thinking Jerome Whitehead.
Mm, interesting. The name just
I
sounds
might be
odd.
wrong. I might be wrong though.
Regardless, they signed Jordan Whitehead from the Jets. Obviously, re-signed Baker Mayfield to a very big deal. He led them to the playoffs last year and played well for them. Um, they franchise tag Antoine Winfield Jr., one of the safeties that I was looking at. If the Packers couldn't nail down a safety, I wanted him. Um, they signed
I,
Sterling Shepard from the Giants. Go ahead.
I do think they eventually. I want to say they
Came to a
eventually.
deal. I think they did.
Yeah.
That sounds correct. Looks
Yeah,
like
4 year, 84 million with 45 million guaranteed.
good for him.
Highest paid defensive back in league history, which will change when the next one signs.
That's right. Um, I was very confused for a second. The Jets used to employ a man named Bryce Hall, which had me very confused because I read that as Brees, like,
Brees.
and he plays cornerback, and my skimming eyes read it as like Brees Hall running back. I was like, when did that happen? I did not remember that. But no, alas, I just can't read. Um, Otherwise, nothing too big. Like their two big moves or three big moves, obviously, were Antoine Winfield Jr., Mayfield, and Mike Evans. That's a good offseason for the Buccaneers to have. They retain all three of their main guys. Um, Building upon success is the biggest thing for them now. They lose David Canales, who's like the QB whisperer, did really well with Baker Mayfield last year. How well they navigate that, um, what's the word? That path forward is going to be, I think, like their key to success. If it's good, they'll probably be good. If they have a little trouble and Baker Mayfield regresses a little bit, I could see it being a down year for them for sure.
Yeah, they're kind of in this hard place of they surprised someone had to win the division too.
Yep.
um, but they surprise um Baker Mayfield. They get him from the offseason further, and then obviously double down on him, bring him back. Which if you're the Buccaneers, you have no other choice really.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they brought back pretty much everyone of note that was a free agent, like Devin White is a name, but he wasn't the same level. He wasn't Devin White in the 2021 NFC Championship game.
Right.
Let's just say.
Yep.
I think they're probably my. We can probably get into this
Yeah.
in a couple minutes. Then
Yep.
I would say they're still my number one for the division, even though it's a very slim margin because betting on what they did last year doesn't necessarily mean anything. I just like where they're at. I think continuity is key for them, clearly. Rashad White, I think, is actually going to be pretty good. I think he's
Yeah.
kind of an unheralded running back that, all you fantasy people out there, keep an eye on him. I don't know why I keep doing that. Yeah, but I think biggest thing too is Mike Evans, where it looked like he was very much going to walk, and they
Yeah.
extended him before free agency even began.
Mm-hmm.
That was huge,
Yeah.
huge.
A big shock too because like this team I don't think is contending. Like they're not close to being a contender.
No,
It's a classic like
they're doing what the Saints are trying to do, but they're just doing it better.
yeah. I think what happens here is that Mike Evans retires a Buccaneer gets his jersey retired in that stadium
Yeah.
without having. Well, no, he did win a Super Bowl. My apologies with Brady, obviously. And so like you think he wins his ring, he's probably like content just bagging a lot of money.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, still good defense. Like that defense is gonna cause havoc every single time it's out on the field. Um, I don't know why, but they didn't. PFF didn't like their defense last year, but I thought it was pretty good. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just hindsight or prior years bias because they used to have a really good defense. So
Mhm.
you want to rank your NFC South teams?
Ooh, I'm gonna go Buccaneers, Falcons,
You're going top down or bottom up?
top down. Yes, top down. Sorry,
Wow.
Buccaneers, Falcons. I really want to pick the Saints to be last. They are just so
Yeah.
stale.
You're
But
really
I don't think that's gonna happen.
finish. So you're going Buccaneers, Falcons, Panthers, or Saints, Panthers.
Yeah.
You're really going Buccaneers over Falcons, even after I told you that they're my lead and you said you're coming around on them. Because like I think
It might just be the difference between a healthy Baker Mayfield and a post Achilles tear Kirk Cousins.
I think it's that along with like Baker Mayfield losing his offensive coordinator. Like David Canales is known as the QB whisperer. Like that's just kind of his gig in the NFL. And so if you take a guy like Baker Mayfield who kind of had one good year with Cleveland and they let him walk and traded for Deshaun Watson, he goes to LA. Baker Mayfield does. I'm sorry, he goes to Carolina for a gate for like an end of a season. Am I right there? I don't
He
think
started Carolina and then ended in
in LA, right?
yes,
But he was in Carolina for like a hot minute.
because he was traded there, then lost the starting job to Sam Darnold.
Yep.
They cut Panthers cut him
Then he
and
went to
ran
LA
people
as
because
a
Stafford
backup to
got hurt.
yep. And then he went to Tampa Bay 2 years ago now. And so like I think he has a place in the NFL. Baker Mayfield does. I do think he is a creature of like he needs a good environment and changing your offensive coordinator and a guy like David Canales that could be a detriment to Baker Mayfield. But I'm going Falcons, Bucks, Panthers, Saints. I'll put the Saints last for you.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the NFC West, a significantly more fun division to talk about because they have the reigning NFC champions, the San Francisco 49ers. Not that I enjoy saying that per se, but they also have the Seattle Seahawks who are contending in that division, as well as the Rams who are trying to stay relevant as they ride out the ends of Matthew Stafford's career and Cooper Cup's career. I should say the end of Cooper Cup's career. He's still probably 30-ish, if I'm guessing right. But then they do lose Aaron Darnold this offseason. He retires as one of the best
Did
D
you just
linemen
call
of
him
all time.
Aaron Darnold?
I don't think I did. I might have slurred
I
my
heard
word a bit.
Darnold.
It was I'm pretty sure I said Aaron Donald, but
You may.
regardless, we'll have to let the
Also, you're not far off. Cooper Cup is 31,
yeah
and he last year he was facing all the foot problems. So
right.
it's not.
It's not
You
great,
never know.
obviously, but like I still think he's pretty darn good. And regardless of it all, um, they have Puka Nakua, who was came out as an absolute star of the draft last year. They just drafted no that's the Chargers that drafted Lad McConkey. My apologies, but um, I feel like they drafted a wide receiver. Who am I? Nope, they must not have. They did draft a receiver, but not the team I was thinking about. So, but they get Jared Verse, the edge rusher out of Florida State. I think was the first or second best edge rusher in this draft, if I'm not mistaken. And they beef up the running back room with Blake Corum out of Michigan to add to the running back room of Kyron Williams, who was again also very good last year, and Ronnie Rivers, who was like their third backup, who was also good until he got hurt last year. So, um, I guess I just started with the Rams. Is
Yeah,
that
I was very much thrown off.
well? I like
It's fine. It's fine. It's
I
fine.
jumped into the Rams for some reason when I like said that they're there, and then we just hopped into them. So obviously they did not come in last place. They were 10-7 last year. Um, I still think they're gonna be pretty good. I'm trying to find
I would say so.
the right tab here. They sign Darius Williams to their cornerback. He was from Jacksonville, a guy that we had looked at for the Packers
Also,
to sign.
previously was a Ram too,
Yep,
so familiarity there.
yep. They signed Tre'Davious White, the quarterback from the Bills. They signed Jimmy Garoppolo as a backup who promptly gets suspended for PEDs. Um, They do lose a couple of linemen to the Browns and the Bears. Nothing of super significance though. Um, Jonah Jackson, a left guard from the Lions, signs with the Rams. That's a big get for their line. Trying to see. Other than that, not a whole lot of movement for them. Um, Not a whole lot, like a lot of people leaving. So they're still a talented team. I think their biggest thing just is health.
Tre'Davious White might be a nice late season flyer that they pick up after
Mm-hmm.
he's had a couple big injuries, so it's not a
Yeah,
guarantee. But yeah, if you look at it, it's a lot of help along the line, pretty much retaining their free agent offensive lineman, bringing Jordan Jackson from Detroit, as you mentioned earlier. Yeah, I think they surprised last year for sure. Kyron Williams is definitely a revelation.
they made a
Matthew
late
Stafford,
push.
yeah, made a late push. I thought maybe they would have thrown. They almost went there, but I thought they were going to challenge Detroit and their kind of resurgent year in the playoffs.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, that game was going back and forth a little bit, if I
I
remember
forget
correctly.
that was a playoff game. Yeah,
Yeah, because obviously Stafford's first time back. Um, yeah, I just thought I don't know. I think they're in the right direction. I think a lot of things broke right for them, whereas other teams in the division, like Seattle, did not. I
no,
think they benefited greatly from that, clearly by having a game edge over them and making the playoffs. But yeah, I think for them, it's not an overwhelmingly like massive offseason for them, but just kind of along the edges and stuff like that. And really, your point of health is the key. If Cooper Cup can be healthy this year, and he looked no worse for wear by the end of it. Him and Stafford, again, another guy that has health issues historically, are proven as a connection that can really carry them along with Kyron Williams in year two, maybe year
yep,
three.
two.
It, year two is a starter at least. So,
Yes, I think it is year two. I don't think I think he was a rookie last year.
but yeah, I think. Well, yeah, I'll obviously we'll wait to
See,
rank who
yeah.
finishes where.
I think they feel like Bucks West. Like you know what I mean? Like the
Yes,
similar situation where uh they're like bringing back their quarterback from last year, who like Baker Mayfield wasn't hurt last year, just had like an up and down season, obviously, but then really talented at their skill positions on offense, and they got a good defense. So like I think they'll be competitive again this year, probably make the playoffs. Um, and if everything goes the right way for them, they'll probably be good in the playoffs too.
yeah.
So let's start back at the bottom now as we went out of order with the Arizona Cardinals. They were very bad last year, finishing at a paltry, I think it was like 4 and 13.
Or
Yeah,
13.
it was not good for them. A lot of injury. Like Kyler Murray was out for the beginning of the year, if not mistaken, as he was recovering from an ACL tear. Um, as always, the narrative around him is like motivation. Like if he can stay focused and be an NFL quarterback, then he's pretty good. But that's still just a question of can he find that motor week to week. They do sign Zay Jones
He's
from the
got to knock off the
Jaguars.
rust, and I don't mean the Call of
He
Duty.
can't be doing 720 no scopes off of the Rust Tower. He can't be doing it. Um, but they do sign Zay Jones to boost up that wide receiver room, along with drafting Marvin Harrison Jr. He's gonna be good for them. Like I think that's one of their biggest like just stories of the
But you
offseason.
can't buy his jersey.
You can't buy his jersey,
You
not yet,
can't.
not yet at least. I do think he has signed that contract for what it's worth, but um,
No, it's a different thing.
it's a different. Oh, okay.
That
It's the NFL.
he
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Players Association. Yeah,
Yeah. Um, for what it's worth, I think like this team is probably going to be pretty good. Not like really, really good, but like if Kyler Murray goes, it's a shame that like James Conner is still like their starter. Not shame, but like I just don't not a
they did
big.
draft
But
their
they drafted Trey
draft is actually
Benson.
really
Yeah,
Darius Robinson, late first round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Max Melton went to Arizona in the
Yep.
second round. Like their
He
top
was
four
the
picks are
the
pretty
corner out of where'd he go?
Rut Rutgers,
Right. We had looked at him as well in draft
brother of
preview.
Bo.
Yep. Brother of Bo. That's if that's right. But they still have Sean Murphy Bunting and Buda Baker. Um, like I like the wide receiver room and tight end. Like the pass catchers are good. Like Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be good. Zay Jones is fine. Like he's a good wide receiver three. Michael Wilson is a good wide receiver two. Like Trey McBride is going to be like the next big tight end. He's
Yeah,
really good, dude. Like he's gonna
yeah.
pop. He's gonna pop this year. That is my statement for the NFC West. As like an assurance, he's gonna be freaking good. Um, and so yeah, like I just think they have um a good base here, and if they can stay healthy, like they were not mistaken a playoff team Kyler's rookie year when he won rookie of the year, and so they had Jesus Christ, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They had 12 picks this draft, and holy moly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 picks in the first 3 rounds. Like that's just above the Packers 5 in the first 3 rounds. Like that's they added a lot of talent early in what is a good draft, and so yeah, they could easily be pretty darn good this year, and really improve on that paltry showing last year.
Yeah, it's gonna be as much as we'll be dazzled by the playmakers and impact players, it's gonna be about protecting Kyler Murray and just kind of not getting sucked into the flash of it all. It's just again, can you name the Cardinals head coach right now?
I don't know
We've
his.
done this before.
I
We've done this
know I
before.
don't know his name, but he's the weirdo fellow that probably couldn't motivate me to make a ham sandwich.
Yeah, he's like, oh, what was that clip?
Yeah, I know the exact clip you're talking about, and I just can't
Oh
think
my
of his
God.
name.
It's something about like public transit. It was like
It's
taking
something
the
like
bus
that.
to practice. Anyway, his name is Jonathan Gannon.
It is Jonathan Gannon.
Who sounds more like a news anchor name than a football coach.
Yes, he does. I was gonna do my best news anchor voice. I decided against it.
I was ready.
I was so ready. I was getting it going. I was like, I just better not.
Uh,
Um, but yeah, I have the Cardinals being good this year.
did you mention Jonah Williams?
Mention who?
We mentioned him last pod. Jonah Williams.
Oh no, the Bengals left tackle.
Really
Yeah,
like that move.
yeah,
That's a nice move.
that is a good move for him. They also signed Belial Nichols and Justin Jones, interior linemen from the Raiders and Bears.
Wow.
Okay, alrighty then. Um, Other than that, not too much movement for them in free agency. So yeah, just look out for the Cardinals this year. The Packers they play the Packers in week looks like to be like 7-ish. Week 6, week
At
7
Lambeau too, right?
at Lambeau. The noon game on
I want to
October 13th.
say
I
that would
want
be
to
the first
say,
time they have played the
oh
Packers at
God,
Lambeau
in
since
a
Mike
long time.
McCarthy's last game.
Oh, that's for sure when it last was. 1,000%. 1,000%.
Because there
Yeah,
was the Razul Douglas pick off
that was
waving at
in
the
that was in Arizona. Yeah, that is 1,000% when the last time that was. You don't even got to research it. I'll just tell you what it is. I'm positive of it. Can't wait to be wrong here. It's got to be. I'm out of vamping.
it
Where's Jordan?
it is. Sorry, it is. Yeah, because they don't play each other that often.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
Every 3 years, which would make sense because
God,
that
that
was six
oh
years
my.
ago.
Also, they have I think the highest. No, they don't. What am I talking about? Let's move on.
Let's move on. Let's move on to those Seattle Seahawks. Uh, I think that they might be the team left out of it all in this division. Like, still have Geno Smith as their starting quarterback, who had a pretty severe regression last year, like combined with some injuries and just like injuries of his own and injuries to the rest of their team. It wasn't the best for them. Um, I don't think they made the playoffs.
They did not.
Yeah,
They
they did not
they got bounced. Opened the door for
for the Packers.
little Green Bay
Well,
Packers
bring
right
back
there.
Packers. But like this is a specialist or like a skill player group that's as good as any of them. Like they have a running back by committee and Kenneth Walker the third and Zach Charbonnet. Those two running backs are dynamic. Their starting receivers are DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Jackson Smith-Njigba. They're all really good. Like say what you want about Noah Fant, like he's fine, but he's still like a capable pass catcher. Like
Hmm.
that's just a good set of skill players for Geno Smith to throw to. And so like what do you do to make sure you're capitalizing on all those players? Does Geno Smith help them get there? He did 2 years ago. Hopefully this like upcoming year for like their sake is the case as well. Um, they did sign Tyler Lockett to an extension this past off season. They do lose Jamal Adams to the Titans. That actually happened like 2 days ago, I
I was
believe.
gonna say I don't think I even knew that he was on the Titans, so that would
Yeah,
make sense. That it was very
it
recent.
just happened. They lose Will Disley to the Chargers. He was their backup tight end. Um, I'm trying to see a couple other ones. Um, Damian Lewis, that left guard we talked about for the Panthers, he came from Seattle, so they lose a piece on their line. Um, lose another tight end and Colby Parkinson. He got a big deal from the Rams. Uh, DJ Dallas, a like fourth string running back, signed with the Cardinals. Like it's just it's not a big loss for them in some ways, but like Jamal Adams was like a tone setter. He wasn't that good anymore, but
He
I think
no.
no,
He they're better off without him.
yeah.
There's a lot of weird stuff with going
With
on with him. Remember, he came back from injury and then
oh
immediately got
yeah,
suspended,
yeah,
or they
I
benched
remember
him.
that. Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, that trade it
Yeah,
proved to be
not good.
terrible.
Yeah, not good. I do remember that now.
So that is going to piggyback off my point
Okay.
in a lot of the players that they lost. I would say Jordan Brooks might be the biggest one that they lost. Bobby Wagner came back last year, but he's on the older side. It's not a guarantee how much he's going to hold up.
Well, he went to the Commanders too.
He went to the Commanders too. They not only lose Jamal Adams or move on from Jamal Adams, I should rather say,
Right.
they moved on from Quandre Diggs,
Yep.
who is still a free agent.
Excuse me.
So there is some like their defense for all like they didn't make the playoffs last year, but they're still competitive. I think the biggest thing for them, they get this kind of I think he's not Dave Canales. He's the Dave Canales of the defense, Mike McDonald of really respected guy. A lot of people like his schemes with Baltimore.
Yeah,
Obviously
he
went to
was
the
Baltimore's Z coordinator last year.
yeah, and he is might
No,
be the next.
sorry.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're
He
right.
was okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
he might be like the next wave of guys that bring this system that kind of I don't know sets the tone for NFL defense for the years to come, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I just think too like that is my overall point is guys that they moved on from were either getting older or were ineffective, like Jamal Adams.
hmm
The Sam Howell trade still kind of boggles my mind, but I
Yeah.
can understand it considering Geno Smith might be 1 year wonder. I'm saying all this as someone who picked the Seahawks to be my Super Bowl pick out
Last
of
year.
the NFC last
Last
year,
year. Yeah.
and they missed the playoffs.
Yeah.
Um, I just think new blood with McDonald is going to be helpful. You mentioned it; they have three bona fide wide receivers that could be like top of the league, like the top wide receiver core in the league. Kenneth Walker is a dynamic running back, really good. Health is an issue, but still can impact games even if he's missing some games.
hmm
It's just going to come down to what are you going to get from the quarterback position.
Yeah.
It really is.
1,000%. Totally agree. Without a doubt. Still Devin Witherspoon as their
Yep,
as one of their backers
he's
or
good.
their
That
secondary
guy's
players.
good.
Oh yeah, he's real good. Former Packer Jaron Reed is still on the team. Leonard Williams still on the team. So like this this division's gonna be tough, man. But I'm with you. I think it all comes down to Geno Smith. How does he
They
play? If he plays well,
Yeah.
they could be as good as any other team in the division. If he's not, they'll comfortably come up the rear in this division.
Yeah, that I their ceiling is higher than what it ended up being last year.
Yeah, I would agree. Um, all right. Should we move on to the final team?
Yes.
The
Oh, God.
San Francisco 49ers. Those stinking Niners. They lose Eric Armstead to the Jaguars, so that's a good start for the Packers at least. We talked about them losing Randy Gregory. They do sign Devondre Campbell, obviously a former Packer. They lose Chase Young. Um, Signed Logan Thomas, an older tight end from the Commanders, to be there. Um, Trying to see a couple other of the Javon Kinlaw they lost to the Jets. Also, Isaiah Oliver, their cornerback. Former Packer Oren Burks went from the Niners to the Eagles, and then I think that is of the significance. They did resign Juwan Jennings. The biggest thing right now is they cannot get um, Brandon Ayuk happy. Like he doesn't want to sign his franchise tag. I believe is what he's being offered, if I'm not mistaken. But then um, they can't come to terms on an extension. He's not happy, and but otherwise, they still have George Kittle. They still have Christian McCaffrey. Brock Purdy has emerged as a probably a pretty damn good starter in the NFL. I know that you are vomiting at the thought, but I think you just have to recognize it. Um, but like their pass catchers and that
He's
again,
a pretty good quarterback if you want to lose the Super Bowl. That's what I'd say.
I don't know, man. They went to overtime against the reigning Super Bowl champions. Like sometimes luck just doesn't go your way. I don't know. We're not gonna have that discussion right now.
I want the 49ers to be bad. I'm
I
waiting.
so do I. I
I
also want
want
this.
that ivory tower, John Lynch, the guy that speared everybody on his way to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I am just so sick of them. I am so sick of them. I'm thinking there may be some Packer words as being written as we speak. And I'm so it made me mad. It made me mad. They did
Yeah,
not they played way
poorly.
below their standard, and it makes me mad that they just skate on by. They make the Super Bowl. I know it was the first the second time in 4 years. Christian McCaffrey is really good. Christian McCaffrey is really good. Brock Purdy, I'm going to relent, is good. But as I said, if you want to lose the Super Bowl, I think the Ayuk, in all sincerity, I think the Ayuk stuff is very interesting. I can
Concerning.
understand concerning. I can understand why they're making a hardline stance with him.
Yeah,
At the same time, uh, it's not like Debo Samuel's been healthy.
reliable.
They reliable. They did the same kind of dance with him with contract negotiations, and maybe it's just all this is how it all plays out.
Which is
But
weird because they gave it to Jawan Jennings right away. Like
well,
they,
they might be preparing for him to
I
take
know,
the step up.
but like they gave it to him right away
Yeah,
as like I agreed with what your point is, right?
yeah,
But they played hardball with Debo. They're playing
yep.
hardball with Ayuk, but they give it to Juwan Jennings right away. It's an interesting.
They did, and they didn't do that with Kittle, which
No,
they're more. He is a top three tight end,
yeah,
I would say.
another boomer bust tight end. He's like some
Boomer
weeks
bust, but
he's still
I
very good.
understand this from a. I was gonna say I understand this from a fantasy perspective.
Yeah,
He is legitimately like a really good blocker.
yeah,
Like
exactly. Some
it,
weeks he just does a really great job blocking. Other weeks he goes for 2 touchdowns, 150. Like
yeah.
it's a lot of in between with him. But like
Um,
this is probably without a doubt the best like skill players in the NFL. Like without a doubt. Christian McCaffrey, Ayuk, Debo, Kittle, Jawan Jennings. Like It's hard to beat,
Christian
dude.
McCaffrey could have been the MVP last year.
He probably should have been the MVP last year
Nah, I would still say Lamar deserved it, but Christian
because he
McCaffrey
plays
was.
a more important
I know
position.
that's the other thing. I'd rather have it be a non-quarterback because it just is more.
It's better that
It's.
way because like he
Mhm.
he had a really good year last year. Like I think he deserved it. But um, with all that
He
being
was
said,
third. He was third. Did you know that?
I think I did. It was Mahomes. It was Jackson Mahomes. Him right?
No, it was not Mahomes. Mahomes is seventh.
Who was second last year? Not Josh
Dak
Allen.
Prescott.
Ew,
Dak Prescott. Out of
brother,
50
ew.
first, can you? Okay, here. Let's play this trivia game. 50 first place votes. Lamar Jackson got 49 of them. Who got the other one? It's none of the players that we've already mentioned.
The other player to get an MVP vote is whittle down to conference for me. ASU or NFC.
ASC.
It's not Josh Allen. It's not Tua.
No, two is not on the list.
Oh, thank God. I'm trying to think of like it has to be a quarterback. I'm gonna take too long doing this. AFC. I don't know who is it. Joe Flacco.
It, it was Josh Allen.
I said that. Oh, I thought we said. I said Josh Allen. You said
You
none
you
of the.
said it's not Josh Allen.
No, well, I said. Oh, I thought I guessed him as the
You
second
said his
place
name, but you're like, it was not Josh Allen. It was not, or maybe it was. That's what you're doing.
because when we were talking about the order, I thought Josh Allen was second.
Oh, no, no, no. Dak Prescott was second.
Right. And then you said none of the names we had talked about, Jordan.
Which, oh, I didn't hear. Okay, then I didn't
Now do
realize
you
that you said Josh
understand
Allen.
my
Yes.
qualm?
Sorry.
It's okay.
Josh Allen, for the record, 29 touchdowns, 18 picks.
Yeah.
That's awful.
For a team
That's
that
awful.
did not make the playoffs,
No, they did.
did they?
They lost to the Chiefs in the divisional round.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Everything's such a wash from last year. Like they were
I know.
they were they were so hurt that like I thought they missed it after having a rough end of the year. But yeah, I remember now. But back to the Niners. This defense is still really stupid, freaking good. Still have Fred Warner leading their defense. Still have Leonard Floyd. Still have Javon Hargrave and Nick Bosa. And like I think their corners got a little bit worse. Like they don't have any like standout players out there. Um, but that front seven dude is tough, tough. So there's that.
I just, I don't know. They're still gonna be good. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they're gonna be 13-4, one seed in the NFC. Sorry, they were 12-5 last year. I forgot that they slipped. They had that weird like mid-season slide. I
Yeah,
forgot, but they also, I believe, they had 193 net points, which is the second highest, third highest, sorry, behind the Ravens and the Dallas Cowboys, which makes everything more sweeter that the Packers just whipped them like a can of whoop ass to the Dallas Cowboys.
that's right.
Anyway, I don't think the 49ers are going to be as infallible next year or
I
this
don't
season,
know.
sorry.
We'll see.
I just don't think I don't think the depth is there
I
the
don't.
same way. They're
Yeah,
making a lot of bets. I think like a guy like Leonard Floyd is good for them, but they're making a lot of like stopgap guys. Like Devondre Campbell is a stopgap. Um,
but like
let
Devondre
me look.
Campbell is not even. I mean, he might start for them. I could see
I
him
think
being.
he I
He's
think he
currently
is.
slated to, but like between Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner, like I'm sure he probably will. But I could see them like moving on from Devondre Campbell quite quickly to something else and like having him come off the bench, quote unquote, being like a fourth string linebacker
Maybe we'll
because
see.
like he's not
But
playing the same role he played in Green Bay. That's Fred Warner's job.
yeah.
So I don't know. I
Um,
think they're gonna be good.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I do think
No,
they're going to be good.
I understand. I understand.
I don't think it's, I don't think it's going to be the same level, and that could be famous last words. But they also moved on. Who did they hire as their defensive coordinator?
I don't know.
Because they
I
moved on from Steve Wilkes after all that. There's just kind of like friction between him and Shanahan. It seemed.
shocker,
Yeah.
shocker.
Right. Right. Oh, it's Brandon Staley. That's right.
Oh, that's right. So yeah, could be good, could be bad for them.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap this up. Who do you have?
Yeah.
What's your NFC West ranking?
It's 49ers gonna win this division. All I said. 49ers. I'm gonna go Seattle makes a jump. I think the Rams fall back.
Wow. And then you still
Cardinals are gonna be
Cardinals last?
they just they're young.
Yeah. That
I think they have made their draft is really good on paper. I think they made a lot of the good like weapon additions that they needed. But from what I have always known of the Arizona Cardinals is that their offensive line is usually just dog
porous.
poop. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, this division's gonna be freaking hard, dude. Like,
yeah,
I would imagine that the winner of this division is probably at like 11, 12 games. I think they're
yeah.
kind of they're
That is the threshold.
they're gonna be like 12, 11, 10, 9 in like wins. Like I could easily, honestly, easily see three teams in this division making the playoffs. Um,
What's crazy is well, it shouldn't be that crazy, but both the Rams and 49ers had were 5-1 within their division, which
yeah,
shows you just how terrible Arizona was because they
yep.
were 0-6, excuse me. And Seattle was 2-4 based on some bad breaks and
Hmm.
that kind of thing.
But yeah, like that's this division always plays each other tough, like
Yep.
always. Um, I think I'm gonna go Niners, Rams, Cardinals, Seahawks is my
Wait,
four.
so you got Niners, Rams, Cardinals, Seahawks?
Yeah,
Really?
I believe more in the offense figuring it out for the Cardinals and having like a healthy Kyler Murray, like Marvin Harrison Jr. I think has potential to like enter the league as a Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson type of receiver. Like just immediately comes in and wreaks havoc on the league. I think he's going to be that good. And they have the easiest schedule in the division. They play a fourth place schedule. They are young, yes, but like I'm a believer in um, I'm gonna butcher his name, but it's Amari DiMercado, I believe is how you pronounce it. Um,
I have never heard of this person in my life.
he's
Who is this?
he's their fourth string running back. He like well James,
What?
listen, hear me out. The fantasy people know when James Conner went down last year, they had a different guy as the backup. He went down, and DeMarcado was like the next guy up, and he did pretty good in a couple of games that he was in last year. I'm trying to find his bulk of his carries. So his main run was from like week I can't find it week 5 through week 8, and
Just say his main run like one
no,
carry.
no, like his run of games was like the entire month of October,
Okay,
where
I'm
he
looking at it now. He
where he
had
had
a
a touchdown and then a game with 45, 58, and 78 yards on the ground and a couple of catches and out of the backfield. But like he was dynamic enough to like I think be something for them. It's gonna be a hard, obviously, like work to get on this roster and work out like beat out Trey Benson who they just drafted. But
yeah.
I don't know. Like I'm not the like I said, not the biggest believer in James Conner, but I think Trey McBride's really good. He's a really good tight end for Kyler Murray, and Marvin Harrison Jr. is just that good. So yeah, I'm gonna say that the Cardinals take a jump this year and get to third and probably make the playoffs.
For what it's worth, Bill Barnwell ranked them 21st on his playmakers list.
Why you gotta do
But
this?
I come on, we had a it's a long running joke. He did not mention Amari DiMercado, who I'd never heard of before.
Well,
When you
yeah,
said that name, that
he's the fourth string running back. Well, like I don't expect him to be like a star, but like I think he
no.
could for sure
Is
win
he, would
carries
you
over Michael
compare him,
Carter. Would I compare
would
him to
you
Emmanuel
say
Wilson or Emmanuel? Yeah,
I was
that's
gonna
his name.
say, is he like that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Um,
I like that.
yeah, but like I could see him getting carries over Michael Carter, who is like a retread of a retread from the Jets. I could see him at the beginning of the season getting second string carries in front of Trey Benson. That's just my opinion, but so all right, that sums it up for the NFC West and the NFC South. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, you can follow Jordan and I on Twitter at Numac and Jordan at Jordan Tresky and Taco Tundra at Packers GSPN. Go check out the GSPN Substack premium and feed where we got all these pods on the Earshot Podcast Network ad free, as well as premium pods for GSPN After Dark and uh, and articles, premium articles that Jordan and I are writing along with a bunch of other people over here at GSPN. So go check it out. $8 a month. We would really appreciate it. Check out the Bucks feed as Todd Rohan talked about uh, the summer league action getting underway this past Friday and again I think yesterday on Sunday. Um, and then Jordan and Adam, uh, if I could speak, recorded an episode of Win and Six, a mailbag that released on Friday as well, if not mistaken. Uh, Go check out Cruising for a Bruising as Adam and Andrew talk about the Brewers as they entered the All Star break. And if you want to, go over the Substack and read my piece on Christian Yelich's resurgence back into the All Star game after a 5-year absence. Or just go check out Make Time for This. Watch a movie, listen to a pod, relax a little bit. Jordan, you're pointing at me. Do you have anything to say?
No, no, no. I was just telling the listener,
Got it.
do what Numac says.
That's right. I led you in a great way to not blow your fingers. So if you're out there and you have all 10 of your fingers, you can thank me. So, all right, folks, that does it for us. Thank you for listening. And Jordan, thank you.
Thank you.